Hello, everyone. My name is William Mucker. I am a client executive with Camaplan, and I would like to thank you all for joining us for today's webinar, Daily Pricing Power, What Limited Service Hotel Investments Have to Offer in a High Interest Rate Environment with Josh Glass, Vice President of Gentry Mills Capital. I'd also like to thank you for joining us today, Josh. As a quick note, please be aware that Josh will be answering questions at the end of the presentation. However, feel free to use the Q&A function on your screen to pose your questions. Whenever they cross your mind, they will be saved and addressed once the presentation portion ends and the Q&A portion begins. Before we get started, we have a brief disclosure to go through. Everything presented in today's webinar is strictly for educational purposes. Camaplan is a neutral third-party administrator of IRAs. We are not attorneys, CPAs, or financial advisors. If it comes to a time where you need advice in any one of those fields, we highly recommend you consult with your team of professionals. We are more than happy to be a part of the dialogue with your team of professionals to make sure the investment process is quick and seamless. We do not sell any investments at Camaplan, nor do we endorse any products. We will never call you about the next best investment opportunity. We believe that you should always do your own due diligence before investing your money, whether it be your retirement funds or otherwise. Once you have found the investment that is right for you, we will help you open your account, fund that account, and facilitate the transaction into that investment. Here is my contact information. If you or anyone that you know who you believe can benefit from the information that's provided today have any questions about what is discussed or about self-direction in general, please do not hesitate to contact me. I would be more than happy to help. And without further ado, I'm going to pass the controls over to you, Josh.
Thanks, Will. I appreciate it. It's an honor and pleasure to be on Camaplan here. Let me share my screen. Hope everybody can see that. But yeah,
looks good.
This is our third time to be on Camaplan, and we're excited about it. Hopefully, we get some interest in our product here, and kind of give you a little bit more information about hotels and the limited service industry in particular, and kind of a little bit about what's going on in the market that we're seeing right now. So yeah, so let's just jump right in. So Gentry Mills Capital, if you don't know who we are, we're a privately held, family-owned firm right here out of Dallas, Texas. We office in a little town called Westlake, which is really close to the DFW airport. And we opened in 2006. My father started this firm, and before 2006, he was a wholesaler for 25 years for various different firms. And so he's been in the industry for 40 plus years, putting together partnerships in the limited service hotel industry. So he has a lot of experience. I have a lot of experience. We've got a good solid team here that provides great customer service. We provide great communication, and we're just a very small team that just does a great job here. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of us. So let's jump right into what we're going to talk about today. Let's see here if I can get this thing to work. Yeah, so why limited service hotels? Well, first of all, limited service hotels, number one is just, we love being in the hotel industry because it's so flexible. You can lower and raise your rates by the hour. And us being involved with Marriotts and Hilton products, being in that reservation system, we're franchisees, and they really help us with that. So depending on what's going in the market, you can lower and raise your rates at any time. And so we love that, love having the flexibility. If you're in multifamily office and other real estate sectors, you don't have the power to do that. So going into a recessionary type market, we really enjoy that type of flexibility. Number two, our cost basis. So right now we're currently finding assets at cents on the dollar. So a lot of hotels, especially up in the Northeast, and we're going to be talking about a Northeast property that we currently purchased about 4 months ago that is an investment opportunity, and we'll talk about that later on in this session. But yeah, we're currently seeing hotels that are just at capitulation because these assets up in the Northeast just got killed. The COVID was just shut down in the Northeast, for 2 straight years basically, and now they're just coming out of it. But what happened to all these owners is that they got all the PPP loans, they got all the government assistance, all the forbearance agreements from their lenders, but they just still had to write checks to kind of get through the last 2 years. And so we've really just been able to find these assets at just big time discounts because these owners just want out. They don't want to write checks anymore. And so we're able to just provide a price for them to get them out of it, and it's just worked out really good for us. So it's just a great deal for us. But yeah, we love hotels because they have long-term stability, you have robust demand, and then the recovery coming out of here, coming out of COVID has just been phenomenal. And it's just great timing to buy these assets. But why Gentry Mills Capital? Well, first of all, our track record. Why would you want to invest with somebody? You want to know what they've done in the past. And so we've had a great track record where we've had 17 full cycle programs. So that means that if you invest $100,000 with us, we've given you your 100,000 back, and we plus your profits, and we average in the mid-teen type annualized rates of return. So we've had, that number is really 38 total programs, because I'm going to talk about the 38th program today. And so we've had 17 of our 38 programs go full cycle, and we've raised over $250 million. And we raised all of our money in the broker dealer community, the high net worth community with like angel investors and friends and family, and then also in the RIA community. So, and we talked about the type of programs we like to buy is limited service, select service, extended stay hotels. And we're not a REIT, we're not a fund. We really focus on high quality investment opportunities on just one asset, one offering. So you're not going to find us where you're investing with us where it's going to be 50 different assets in one investment. It's just one property, one offering. So you can actually know what you're investing in and go kick the bricks, stay in the property, see the operations of the hotel, and really know and have knowledge of what you're investing in. And also if you invest with us, I think that you're going to find that we have some of the best customer service around. If you're going to call us and ask questions, you're going to get somebody on our team which just knows exactly what's going on, answer your questions efficiently and effectively. And if not, you can get me on the phone. If you can get my father, Billy Glass, who's the founder and president of the company, on the phone. So we really pride ourselves on that customer service. We have a great portal in place where we can get you tax information, distribution notices on time. And we really pride ourselves on that because, when Dad worked for other firms in the past, he really had an issue with getting people their information on time. And that really was not good. And so that's what we really pride ourselves on here. So if you decide to invest with us, you're going to get really good customer service, high quality investment opportunities, and you're going to go full cycle quickly. So this is kind of what we've done in 2022 was just kind of a year in review. We sent out over $18 million in distributions. We had $39 million of assets sold, and we raised over $30 million. We had 4 programs launched. The 4 programs all were single asset, limited partnerships, and all the distributions begin immediately on this. There's no waiting around. So if you invest with us now in March, your first distribution will be on April 15th, and they're paid quarterly. So which is another great reason to invest in us. We talked about the customer service. We're a family-owned firm. We do monthly updates, quarterly distributions. We get our tax information out of time. We have a great portal system where you can log in and see all your information. And then obviously we have a great team that's ready to serve you at any time. So let's just jump right into our current offering. So this is an interesting asset that we purchased. It's a Hampton Inn Suites in Yonkers, New York. Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with where Yonkers is, but it's just north of Manhattan, about 20 miles north of Manhattan. And so this is an area that was just got killed by COVID, especially being in the hospitality industry. That whole area was shut down for 2 straight years. So this owner basically just had to write checks through COVID. And so Hilton said, you're going to have to do this renovation, this $4.5 million renovation that's required by our flag, or you're going to lose this asset. And so what he did was he just gave the keys back to the bank. And so this property was foreclosed on, and we purchased it at auction. Okay. And so we believe that we are at cents on the dollar on this thing, probably right around 50 or 60 cents on the dollar, including our renovation costs for $4.5 million. So comps in this area were 300,000 plus a key. We're all in at 200,000 plus a key or I mean, we're all in right at 200,000 a key with our renovation costs. And so we feel like we're in at a really attractive basis, and we can get out of this thing very quickly after we get the renovation done. And so the renovation is already started. It started 2 weeks ago, and we were just there. Me and Ashley and Paula, who are on this call, were just there a couple of days ago, and we've got the whole 4th floor demoed. And so the renovations are coming on quite quickly. And so how we do the renovation on this is we do it floor by floor, so we never shut down the hotel. So we start at the top floor, which is the 4th floor on this hotel. We shut it down, shut down the 4th floor, complete that floor, and then we work down to the 3rd floor, 2nd floor, 1st floor, and then we do the lobby last. So we never shut down the hotel. We can continue to cash flow as we do the renovation. And we're very experienced in this type of business model where we do the renovations. We've done it on 30 different assets, and so we know what we're doing. We get it done quickly. We think we can get it done in 3 to 4 months on this particular asset. So you can invest through this with your qualified funds or your personal funds. Your qualified funds, your 401k or your IRAs, which offers just great income. But you can also invest in your personal funds, which offers, great income and tax benefits. So if just say you invested 100,000 in this thing, we're doing a cost segregation study on this property, which maximizes your tax benefits. So we're doing a $4.5 million renovation to this asset, and we believe that there's going to be what the cost segregation study shows us is that there's going to be 50 to 60% of write-off passive depreciation that you can use in your portfolio if you have a lot of passive income. It's great for this because it's gonna have a lot of passive depreciation that is thrown from this property from the renovation of it. So that's the 2 different ways that you can invest with this. How do you benefit from this asset? We have a low cost basis. I talked about that at 200,000 a key, all in cost, our cost, renovation cost, everything. So it's a low minimum investment of 20,000. It's a short hold time. So 3 to 5 years is what we're projecting. We think that, when we get this renovation done in the next 4 months, we'll be able to push rate really fast and then sell it within 3 to 5 years. And so, and we just feel like we had great timing on this coming out of COVID, and we'll be able to sell it really fast as we get through the renovation and push rate. Talked about the tax depreciation, throwing 40 to 60%. I said 50 to 60. Yeah, we feel like it's just immediate income, great tax benefits if you invest with just cash. So, and then we talked about the monthly and quarterly updates with our communication and customer service. So, and this area is located right in the middle of a hospital complex. So when you buy a hospitality program, where do you want to be? You want to be next to airports, convention centers, and hospitals. And so this is right in the middle of a hospital complex. We've got a map that I'll pull up here. This kind of shows you where Manhattan is on the lower level here. You can see down here is where Manhattan is, and then our property's up here in north Yonkers. And so it's about 20 miles north of Manhattan. And so but you can see this is the property type. It's a limited service Hampton Inn Suites by Hilton. There's 150 rooms. It was opened in 2009. It's 4 floors. I think everybody's stayed in a Hampton Inn Suites. This is not the sexiest investment, but it's a cash flowing investment, and it cash flows very well. So this is the summary of the offering. It's a limited partnership interest in a Hampton Inn Suites by Hilton. We're raising $12.5 million roughly. Minimum investment 20,000, hold time 3 to 5 years. Again, it has a K1 income for your tax purposes, which throws off the passive depreciation. Accredited investors only, and has distributions that begin immediately at an 8% preferred rate of return. So, and it's currently covering that with the cash flow of the asset. So you're going to get 2% per quarter, and so it's a solid distribution. Here's kind of the more room night generators that I was talking about earlier. You can see look, first of all, this is in just north of Manhattan. So there's people everywhere. This is very dense in population. You've got hospitals, you've got huge corporate headquarters everywhere. You've got airports everywhere, country clubs everywhere, schools, convention centers, youth sports facilities. So this asset is going to run 80 to 85% occupancy through the year. And so we really are going to enjoy some significant cash flow. And look, if this thing pays over an 8% preferred rate of return, we're going to pay it out. It's just the cash flow of the asset. That's what we pay out. And so at the end of the day, when we sell this thing, we think that we're gonna make everybody a 13 to 15% annualized rate of return. And that's going out in 5 years at 260,000 a key, which look, the comps pre-COVID were 300,000 plus a key. So we feel like this very conservative exit strategy. It's going out at an 8.5% cap rate if you're into the cap rates. And so we feel like we get out of this thing conservatively in the mid-type teen rate of return. And so look, if we do better than that, your return's going to be better. And so we feel like this is a very safe investment in the real estate business, and it's going to do very well. Here's some more market information about Westchester County, where this property is located. It's the second wealthiest county in New York. There's a population of about 1 million people. The average income there is $142,000 a year. You've got corporate room night generators everywhere, a bunch of IT. There's the Lionsgate facility just south of the property where they do it's a bunch of movie studios, which we get a lot of room night generators from. And then, it's Yonkers is one of the largest cities, it's the fourth largest city in New York. And so, there's just tons of people everywhere. And it's ranked one of the safest cities in America. So I don't know how true that is, because everybody's always hearing about it in New York. There's all these stabbing things going on and people are moving out. That's just not true. That's fake news. I was just up there a couple of days ago and there's people everywhere. And our hotel was full and we're under renovation. So we love the dense population. We love all the room night generators. And that's the reason why we've invested in this hotel. And then we talked about all the massive hospitals that are right next door. You got St. John's Hospital, 450 beds. It's huge. And then you've got the Children's Hospital, which is literally right next door. I could hit my pitching wedge to it. And so, I mean, it's just great for business for the hotel. And then here's some more room night generators. We could get into this, but I just don't want to waste your time. If you have any questions on this, I'd love to answer all these questions. But basically we want corporate business through the week, and then we want leisure on the weekend. And so leisure travel is just from people visiting for sports facilities and bar mitzvahs and all kinds of stuff, that's weddings and everything that's going on in the area. So and we get a lot of that business. Distributions begin immediately. We talked about that at an 8% preferred rate of return, and they're paid quarterly. And that's immediate income. Here's how our waterfall works. It works this way. You get your 8% preferred rate of return, then you get 100% of your capital back before Gentry Mills Capital makes any money. And so after that's done, after you get your 8% preferred rate of return annualized and all your capital back that you originally invested, then it goes into a 75-25 split, 75 to you, 25% to Gentry Mills Capital, until you have received 20% annualized on your original investment. Then it flips. Gentry Mills Capital gets 75 and you would get 25% after that. So I think everybody will be happy though after 20% annualized. So our interests are very aligned here, and we think that this is a great waterfall. And this is the same waterfall we've used since the inception of our company. Here's kind of some assets or an asset that we sold in 2022. This was a 123 room Element, which is a Marriott property out in Palmdale, California. And we sold that for $32.8 million. And we held it for 5.9 years. And we returned everybody about a 16.3% annualized rate of return. So we basically doubled everybody's money. It was a very good investment. We even managed it through COVID, and we still came out very well, coming out in 2022, selling this asset for $32.8 million. So it was a very good investment. And we have a lot of investors that are very happy about this. Then we had another partnership, GMI Long Island 154, which has a hotel, a Courtyard by Marriott, but we also purchased two ground leases right next door, which have a Smoky Bones and Red Lobster on it. And so we just sold those ground leases in that partnership and for 6.9 million, and we purchased them back in 2017, I believe, or 2017 for $4.2 million. So we just sent everybody back a nice little chunk of their capital and a good little return on those ground leases, and they still have the Courtyard by Marriott in that partnership that's cash flowing very well and continuing their distribution. So everybody's very happy about that. So just some capital events that went on in 2022 that you'd like to see a company like us doing. This is an example of our monthly update where we show everybody kind of our entire portfolio, no matter if you're invested in that particular partnership or not. We just want to show everybody how everything's doing. And so we just show how how all of our properties are doing in occupancy and rate, ADR is average daily rate. And so, yeah, and then we kind of give them some updates on what's distributing and what we're selling and other little updates on a monthly basis. And then this is our quarterly update. You'll get this on your specific asset that you've invested in. And, where you can kind of see what's going on with your investment and get into more details. And that bald guy right there at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen is my father. And so he writes these letters. Well, Ashley, who's on this call, really writes these letters along with my father to give more details. So it's really good communication, really good customer service. And I think you'll find that we're very transparent of what's going on with your investment, and we'll answer any questions that you have. Here's a picture of our team. Like I said, the bald guy right there, that's my father, Billy Glass. I'm right there in the middle. And then you got Ashley that does all of our marketing and communications. And she's very, very experienced and knows what she's doing. So you can feel free to give any of us a call and we will answer your questions. And also you can go to our website, gentrymillscapital.com. You can follow us on LinkedIn, or you can just call us and we'll answer the phone and talk to you and answer any questions that you have. But that concludes my presentation. And as for now, I'd love to do a Q&A and answer any questions that anybody has. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, a lot of great information, Josh. Thank you for that. And, if you'd like, we can keep this slide up so, people can write it down and have that information available for when they watch the recording or right now. But to get started, while people are still thinking of questions to put in that section, you went over a lot about Gentry Mills in there. If you could summarize a few pointers, what separates Gentry Mills and their approach to other companies in the industry, what would they be?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, first of all, I think that you would right off the bat, we do single asset offerings. I mean, that's not a lot of companies do that. They like to put together large funds and REITs. And, that just right off the bat separates us from everybody else. We really focus on one asset and making it, and then focus on the operations and the cost savings of that asset. So I think that's the number one thing that separates us. And then the number two thing is the customer service. When you call in and need some information, we're going to get it to you right away. You're not going to be on hold with a bunch of different people that don't know what they're talking about. You're going to get the information quickly and efficiently. And that's why we have about 50% of our investors are repeat investors with us, just because they love doing business with us. And not only do they get good returns, but they get great customer service, and we're very personal with everybody. And we really, care about our customers. And look, we're a family-owned firm. So, our reputation is on the line here. This is the lifeblood of what we do and who we are. And we want to really do a good job for everybody, because we know that these dollars that they've invested are hard-earned dollars that they've accumulated over the years. So I think that's really what separates us from everybody else.
Perfect. Yeah, and I really appreciate that. At Camaplan as well, customer service is the biggest thing, especially when people are trusting with you with your money, with their money, especially with their retirement funds. Their experience in getting it out correctly and properly in record and recorded properly is huge. Now, I'm sure you could probably see this coming from a mile away when doing a webinar with us, but I have to ask, when the idea of taking investors, retirement funds, working with investors that are using qualified plans, how do you guys approach that? What is your opinion on using retirement funds? Anything you can touch on with that?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've taken, qualified funds on all of our programs, and, people that are just looking for yield is great. And then, if there's there's opportunities with Roth conversions. I mean, these things, since we bought this in a foreclosure, and there's a big Roth discount if you're into doing a Roth conversion. So we could talk further about that if you'd like to, talk to your CPA and see if it works for you. But they just work really well. We work with a lot of different custodians, CMB, Mainstar, Newview. I mean, any of the major custodians we work with, and we'd be happy to help you get in touch with those custodians if you need any help.
Great, thank you for that. Another question, you may have touched on this. I may have missed this, but what's your minimum for investment at Gentry Mills?
Minimum is $20,000. So
$20,000.
we have a pretty low minimum, just because we're only raising $12.5 million on this thing. And look, we raised this money pretty quickly. So I mean, we just started this raise in mid-January, and we've already got about five million in the door of the 12.5. So this will probably be around for, I would say, 2 to 3 months. And so
great. Is there any questions that you generally get that you may not have been able to cover in your main presentation that you think people should be asking, that you want to touch on?
Yeah. Look, people say, why New York? Okay, because I think why are you investing in New York? And I kind of hit on it briefly in the presentation, but this is the main question that I get when I'm talking about this opportunity. And because they hear all this stuff on the news about it being unsafe, people moving out of there, and all that mess. But I mean, I've been out there lately a lot, and New York is back. There's people everywhere. We found a great buy here with our basis. We love this area because, first of all, our basis, I mean, that's just real estate 101. If you buy an asset correctly, you're always going to make good money on it. And we feel like that's the number one reason. But number two is that, the dense population of everybody up there, and it's just, there's just stuff going on everywhere. And so that's the main reasons why I'm going up into the New York area.
Great. Trying to think of any questions. If anybody has any questions that they can pose, feel free to do that.
Well, I mean, look, we're always available to answer more questions. We posted in the chat a little bit more about our company and our website, and you can just always call us, and we'll answer any questions you have.
Perfect. Yes. So if anybody watching this recording or anybody in the audience now has any questions that may not have crossed their mind, but they want to reach out about hospitality or anything Gentry Mills does, highly recommend you reach out to them. If you have any questions about self-direction, please feel free to reach out to Camaplan. We're always available. You can ask for me specifically if you'd like. I'd be happy to speak with anybody. And I think right now it's a good point to call it, unless you have anything you want to end on, Josh.
No, I think I covered everything.
All right, perfect. Again, thank you, Josh, for the presentation. Thanks, Ashley, Paul, everybody at Gentry Mills for the work they put into getting this set up. And I hope everybody has a great rest of their day.
Thanks, Will. I appreciate the time being on Camaplan, and look forward to more of these.
Our pleasure. Likewise. You take care.
All right. Thank you.